Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headlines. The Venezuelan opposition announces violent plans. The Venezuelan government is prepared to preserve peace in the country. Uruguay alerted about other attacks against Venezuela in the Southern Common Market. The National Electoral Council announced that the constitutional rules cannot be violated by any political force in the country, precising that the periods of time established for the recall election are necessary, and foreseeing that, if the requirements are met, a recall referendum could be requested in 2017. However, Venezuela's right-wing sector does not accept the current ruling and announced that armed groups will be deployed in the streets of the country beginning September 1st, with the intention of removing President Nicolás Maduro from power. Voluntad Popular, labeled as a terrorist group that operates in Venezuela as a political party, will deploy several cells in the country's capital. Other political parties of the opposition coalition MUD support this call to violence. The same call was held in 2014, when for 6 months, supporters of this group assassinated dozens of Venezuelans and attacked governmental buildings. Leopoldo López is currently serving a 14-year prison sentence for encouraging that armed subversion. The Venezuelan government is prepared to preserve peace throughout the whole national territory. President Nicolás Maduro informed that he will not allow violent actions in the streets of the country. The government prepared defense groups to confront the terrorist cells of the opposition. The strategy for sustaining peace is due to the fact that the Venezuelan opposition does not accept the requirements established in the Venezuelan laws to request a recall referendum. The regulations on the referendum were approved in 2007, even by the opposition political parties. Caracas in repeated occasions has convened for dialogue to restore peace, but the opposition does not accept. Friday is the deadline for Venezuela to incorporate the trading regulations of the Southern Common Market, a situation that could generate new diplomatic tensions between the member states of the trading group. In this sense, the Uruguayan Minister of Foreign Affairs, Rodolfo In, reiterated yesterday that the members of the Mercosur cannot sanction Venezuela for not having their accession regulations approved, as all of the other members are in the same situation. The minister highlighted that Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina owe each one over 50 regulations. For this reason, it can not only be demanded to Venezuela when the rest of the Mercosur's members have not complied. Noboa admitted that new proposals could arise to sanction Venezuela for breach of regulations, but he precised that a consensus is required with every member of the bloc to put the sanctions into practice.
Venezuela in the news.
The Supreme Court of Justice will address the country in the next days and determine whether the Democratic Unity Opposition Party coalition MUD may or may not request a recall referendum. Sandra Oblitas, main rector of the National Electoral Council, explained that the organization must wait for the Supreme Court's decision. The MUD gathers nearly 30 opposition political parties, and it was certified by the National Electoral Council as a political factor that would be able to request the recall referendum against President Nicolás Maduro. Despite achieving the first stage, which consisted in the collection of 190,000 signatures, the MUD is being investigated for committing fraud during the process. President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, announced that he will initiate efforts with Ecuador, Iran, and Qatar to convene a meeting of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries with the aims of establishing the international crude oil prices. Caracas is arranging a series of meetings to relaunch the plans of stabilization of oil prices. The Venezuelan president informed that he will communicate with his counterparts Rafael Correa from Ecuador and Hassan Rouhani from Iran, as well as the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and also his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, to coordinate the details of this meeting scheduled for September. Caracas indicated that the crude oil price that averages $70 a barrel is the most appropriate for the market.
News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headlines. The Venezuelan opposition announces violent plans. The Venezuelan government is prepared to preserve peace in the country. Uruguay alerted about other attacks against Venezuela in the Southern Common Market.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.